a duochrome vivid purple with a sparkling pink pearl shift. I don't know about that. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Rachel. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if it's not your first time here, thanks for coming back. So today, I am gonna be doing two looks with the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Fall Romance palette. When I saw the color story revealed on Instagram, I knew I had to have it. It's right up my alley. It's like a neutral palette with a twist. You got some muted pops of color in here, but you can clearly create neutral looks, which is my favorite type of palette. And I was pleased with the Cosmos palette quality that they released right before this. I wasn't the biggest fan of the color story. This color story was calling to me, so I was hoping I was gonna get the same good quality. I'm gonna let you watch the video so you can find out my thoughts at the end to see if I did. I'm gonna link this palette down below in the description box, as well as everything that is on my face in both looks. And I'm also gonna put timestamps if you want to skip around. I usually do close-ups and swatches, give you a little info about the palette, and then get to the looks, so let's do it. While I'm going through all of this, I wanna hear your thoughts down in the comments. Did you pick it up? Did you skip on it? Were you interested? Were you not? I would really love to know your thoughts on this. So this is the Fall Romance eyeshadow palette. It does retail for $55. I personally bought mine on the Anastasia website, and I do believe it is now available at Ulta and Sephora, so I will link it down below wherever I can. Introducing Fall Romance eyeshadow palette, a provocative blend of decadent shades featuring 12 seductive, jewel tone metallic and rich neutral eyeshadows. We've got quite a variety of shades in here. I will say upon receiving it and looking at it in person, it is much deeper in person than it is on the pictures online, in particular the mattes. All of the mattes, well, this is a shimmer, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mattes are quite deep. So just be aware of that. And then they are claiming that there are 3 duochromes, Moonlight, Divine, and Crown. And then we have 3 metallics, Smoke, Fireside, and Midnight. Like I said, the color story is beautiful, but I was surprised to see how it looked in person. It definitely looked different in person than it did in the photos, which is bound to happen with lighting, with everything else. I mean, it's going to look different in person, but I just wanted to let you know about that. The unit carton looks like this. It is just like a cardboard unit carton with a slight texture to it. And then the actual palette is kind of like the old school palettes where it is a velvet touch. So that's kind of all I have to say about the palette. I'm gonna show you look number 1. This is look number 2, and then I will come back at the end just to give you my initial impressions. This is not a review. I have to use it more than twice to get my full thoughts, but I do kind of give you some thoughts about this palette. I do have thoughts. I'll see you back at the end and enjoy look number 1. All right, so I'm gonna create my first look with the Fall Romance palette. And I did already swatch this palette before sitting down to film. I think I'm gonna start doing that just because I feel like I get a better idea of the textures and stuff going into it. But this shade Leather was the lightest matte shade in the palette. So I am gonna start with that and just run it through the crease. Let's see what happens. I've already primed my eyes with the Urban Decay Primer Potion, by the way. So on this eye, you can see I brought it up way too high. And because it's so dark, it is a little hard to make look like sheared out. I don't love that. I just have a brush with nothing on it, trying to just blend the edges a little bit. I am gonna take this brush, which is a little more dense, and go into that same shade Leather and try to put it a little lower. So I'm gonna go in with the shade Crimson here, pretty much trying to keep it in my outer corner and keep it low. All right, we're gonna try something a little different today. I'm gonna take the shade Mulberry, which is a satin, and I'm gonna place it on my lid. I'm gonna start with my finger, and then I will probably go to, wait a second. It's an interesting satin. It does feel like a matte, like it feels kind of dry, but it's not completely matte. That is interesting. I'm just gonna place this all over the lid. Like I said, I'm gonna start with my finger and I'll go in with a brush to get more precise. It's interesting, in the picture on Anastasia's website, the shade Mulberry looks really light, and in person, it's not light at all. Oh, so it's a matte reddish brown with sparkling reflex. So it's kind of like a sequin shade, you know, like a matte with sparkle, but the sparkle is very, 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 very fine. I mean, I like this like this. Like, I could just leave it as is, but I do want to pop a shimmer on the lid. I want to use the shade Fireside right here. I cannot find my NYX glitter primer anywhere for the life of me. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use a brush and spray the brush and just basically put it on top of that Mulberry shade. That's pretty. It's quite chunky, I will say that. So wetting the brush or using a glitter primer is probably going to be your best bet. All right, I'm back. Everything else that is on my face in both looks will be linked down below in the description box. Honestly, so far, I think it looks really pretty. I mean, it's a neutral look. What more could I ask for? Was it super necessary for me to put that shade Mulberry down underneath the shimmer? No. No, because I thought it was a satin. But, you know, it just made the look overall more smoky, I guess. So let's continue on with the lower lash line. I'm gonna take this tiny little smudging brush from BK Beauty, the 204. I'm gonna go in with the darkest shade that I used, Crimson, and just smudge this up against my lower lash line. I'm gonna take this little brush from Unearthly, the UC8-5. I'm gonna go into that first matte shade we used, Leather, and just blend that out. There's nothing in here that's like a perfect inner corner shade for me for this look, but just for the fun of it, let's try the shade Crown right here. It is like a green gold. Let's give it a shot. It's actually fun. It's, again, probably not what I would pick as a perfect inner corner shade for this look, but it does work. I'm gonna put Sunnyvale from ColourPop in the waterline. All right, and this is finished look number 1. What do you think? I think it came out really pretty in the end. I really, really do. I love me a neutral look. It's no secret if you've been here before. And I think this is really pretty. Am I blown away? Not off my first impression, but of course, this isn't a review. I have to continue using this palette several times over to get my final thoughts. I will put it into palette ranking in the future, but my first initial impression with this look is it's pretty. I like it. I'm definitely looking forward to playing with some of the green tones for my next look. You could even create a purple look. This is definitely a satin. I said definitely and then I paused, so let me check.
A few moments later.
Okay, so they're calling this shade Divine, the purple one, a duochrome. A duochrome vivid purple with a sparkling pink pearl shift. I don't know about that. And it's very, very, very dry. Very dry. It does feel like somewhere between a matte and a satin for me. Okay, all that to say, you can create a purple look with this as well. But all right, I'm gonna send you off to look number 2. I'll see you at the end to give you my first and second impression thoughts. Okay, so we're gonna do a second look. Since yesterday when I did my first look, a couple of things happened. First thing is I found my NYX glitter primer. I think that's gonna help the shimmers. And then the second thing is I did a little investigating. I mean, by investigating, I went on ABH's website and looked up the different shade descriptions. I was just curious because what I thought was the case with a couple of these shades is not. So like I already told you, this Mulberry shade that I used yesterday is a matte with sparkle, but it's interesting because Ember is a matte with sparkle as well, but Ember seems more like a traditional matte with sparkle where you can tap off the brush and it looks like the glitter particles are just gonna fall off. They're a little bit more like larger particles, and this Mulberry shade, it almost looks metallic or satin when you look at it. It doesn't look like a matte with sparkle. It's just a different texture, although they're calling it the same thing. So I thought that was interesting. So I did look up that Moonlight, Divine, and Crown. They're claiming all 3 of these are duochromes. I can see Crown being one. I did use this in my inner corner yesterday. It does have like a very, very light brown base with like a greenish gold reflect. I don't know if you can see, like when I tilt my hand all the way, you can see the base and then here. But these other two, Divine and Moonlight, are very dry feeling. And I don't really see a duochrome. Like that doesn't look like a duochrome to me. It just looks like a satin. And then this one over here, this one over here, Moonlight, looks not good, like really dry, kind of not much picks up on my hand. And it looks more just like a slight toppery shade, but it's not super reflective. So I just wanted to kind of point that out. I was a little confused. I mean, this is not really the shimmer formula I expect from ABH. I tried the Cosmos palette and I really liked the shimmers in that a lot. They felt creamy. They felt just better quality in my opinion. But some of these ones feel nice. Like Fireside that I used yesterday feels creamy. Smoke feels creamy. This one, Midnight, feels pretty creamy and pigmented, as you can see. This is just like a dark purple. That would be beautiful for like a smoky eye. But those other couple that are claiming to be duochromes, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel. Okay, so I want to play with some of the grains today, like I said yesterday. I'm gonna go in with this What's Up Beauty brush. I'm gonna go into the shade Ember right here, which is a matte with sparkle, but I'm gonna tap it off. I'm gonna try to be very light. I just tapped that into my drink. I'm gonna try to be very light-handed because again, there's not too many light transition shades for me. I've already primed my eyes with the Urban Decay Primer Potion. And let me just kind of start in on the crease with this. Okay, so that was fine as a transition shade, actually. I just went in with a super duper light hand. And once I tapped off my brush, the particles, like the glitter particles, are gone. That's kind of what I like to do with those types of shades. All right, I'm gonna take another What's Up Beauty brush. I'm gonna go into the shade Thorns right here. And this is, again, another matte with sparkle, but it's like mulberry in the sense that the sparkles look like they're almost pressed super tight in the pan. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but let's see. I'm gonna try to pick it up really lightly, tap it off, and just place this more in the outer corner and into the crease. That shade seems a little thin, and it is a little patchy on my eye. It is like a very almost like a cool toned gray based green. So that could be why. I'm gonna go in with the shade Twilight next on the same brush and just deepen it up even more. Maybe the look is gonna come together once it's all together. I'm gonna put the NYX glitter primer all over the lid. I'm gonna take the shade Smoke up here and just place this all over the lid. That shade is really pretty, I will say. I like that one a lot. All right, let's finish up the lower lash line together. I'm gonna go in with that darkest matte shade Twilight on a flat definer brush and just push this up against my lower lash line. I'm gonna go in with the shade Thorns and just blend that out. And then I'm gonna go in with the shade Ember, that first matte shade, and just blend it out. I'm gonna go in with the Patrick Ta Precision Gel Liner in the shade Cream in the waterline. All right, and this is finished look number 2. What do you think? I mean, I think it's cute. It came out pretty cute in the end. So let me just give you my initial first and second impression thoughts. This is not a review. I have to keep playing with this palette to get my full and final thoughts on it, of course. But I will say I am a little surprised by what I got. I kind of expected the quality to be a little better. I expected the mattes to be a little bit easier to work with. It was a little bit harder to blend these mattes today for sure. Are they impossible to work with? Absolutely not. Are they bad? Absolutely not. But I expect ABH just to be stepped up a little bit. And I think with the Cosmos palette, which is the last palette I bought before this from the brand, and I've not bought another palette since Jackie Aina. So this is kind of my first two palettes back with their new formula. I like the quality of the Cosmos palette more. I like the color story of this one more, which I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't really like this one as much. I definitely would have done for my preference, like I prefer if I can have one lighter matte shade to use as a transition, that would be great, because this Ember one, it worked, but I had to be very careful. Maybe if this was just slightly lighter, I think that would have gone a long way. And I don't really think both of these shades needed to be here. They're so incredibly similar on the lid when I used them together today. I mean, really, there was hardly any difference at all, except this one has a slight sparkle to it, but it's not glitter. It's like tiny, tiny fine particles. And then I kind of already told you about some of these shimmers. They feel very dry. They don't feel the best. They say they're duochromes, but I don't really see a shift. So, I mean, again, this is just my opinion, my thoughts. I'm trying to be honest with you because this is a $55 palette. Do I think it's worth $55? To me, no. I don't think it's worth $55. I'm also used to indie shadows where like all the shades are so beautiful. The shimmers are impactful. Even when they're more taupery shades, they still have sparkle, they still have shine. And I just don't feel like with this, the shimmers are up to par with the usual ABH formula, especially the Cosmos. Like those shimmers were really pretty. And then the mattes, like I said, I think if you are like a tan to deep skin tone, maybe you would like this because the tones are deeper. I would like a inner corner highlight, but again, it's not the biggest deal for me to reach in. I did that today. I just reached into another palette to grab an inner corner highlight. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. It's not terrible. It's not a bad palette from, you know, my first two uses of it, but I'm going to continue using it. Let me see what I can work with it. I definitely will pull in other palettes to use this more as a complementary palette. That's probably what I'll do. But yeah, I will say the picture online is definitely different than you get in person. Like some of these mattes look way lighter than they actually are in person. All right, now I want to hear from you. Did you pick this palette up? And if you did, what are your thoughts on it? If you didn't pick it up, were you planning on picking it up? Were you waiting for reviews? Are you not interested in this at all? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments because I love hearing from you. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me out a lot when you do that. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing before you leave. I do upload videos weekly and I'd love to see you back on my channel again. I want to thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye.